Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sporting160EN podcast. Today we've got a jam-packed episode for you as always. But again, unfortunately, I'm going to have to plug the giveaway just because we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're just over 50, maybe like 51,
52.
52.
It's like 52 last I checked. We're so agonizingly close.
Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do subscribe. The link to this tweet is in the description as well. All you have to do is go to this tweet and show us proof that you subscribe to us, and we'll enter you in a draw, which will be done live on streams. There's no sort of magic behind it, so you can see exactly who the winner is going to be. We'll cover all sort of shipping and delivery cost as well, so it's easy, like €100 if you live outside Portugal for everything. So we're more than happy to cover that. All you have to do is subscribe and show proof of it. But I'm sure you're tired of me banging about this every single video and podcast, so I'll get straight into it. First, we've got the main man, Chris. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Kind of weird to not have a sporting game, especially when there was other games being played. Like, we literally skipped a match week. I was talking to my grandpa, and he's like, there can't not be a game. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, there's no sporting game this weekend. And he's like, no, they have to play. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, bro, like, they for some reason just don't have a game. So yeah, we just got to kick back, relax, enjoy the CR7 masterclass. He just keeps banging him in against slightly lower level opposition. He's finding his footing in Saudi Arabia. He's scoring against Luxembourg and Liechtenstein. So the Martinez era off to a success, I guess. Yeah, so I'm excited to see, what the Martinez team eventually get a real test. But for now, you just can beat who is in front of you. So that's all.
Of course. And last but certainly not least, got the main man, Richard. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm with Chris. That was weird how we just didn't play and everybody else played, which is fun. We have a game in hand on people now, which is fine. It helps us a little bit, I suppose, because we know what we got to do. Yeah, not much to really glean from the national team games either. We beat a couple micro states, so it's tough to really glean a whole lot of takeaways from it, but we got a few things that we can kind of pick apart.
Yeah, most definitely. And make sure you follow Danny here as well. Steph doesn't have social media, but shout out to Steph. And feel free to follow me here. But most importantly, don't forget to follow at Sporting160EN for all your sporting updates as well. The YouTube channel's been popping off recently. We're doing some videos. So after this podcast, make sure you go check out some of them. Some of them might be interesting to you. Without further ado, let's get straight into the first game. So obviously there was 2 games during the international break. The first games of Roberto Martinez as well. So we'll start off in the first game, which was against Liechtenstein, which was a 4-0 victory. The team is as followed. So in goal, we've got Renato Patricio, we've got Gonzalo Ignacio for his debut, and the Alvalade, which is nice. Ruben Diaz, Danilo Pereira, João Cancelo, Rafael Guerreiro, Bruno Fernandes, Palhinha returning to the Alvalade as well, Bernardo Silva, Ronaldo, and João Felix. Off the bench, we had Ruben Neves, Rafael Leao, I guess I'll go with that one. Gonzalo Ramos Vitinha and João Mario, but no one even realized João Mario came on because there was definitely no news about it or anything. No overreaction. No one knew. But Rich, I'll start off with you. First game under Martinez, some new debutants, some returning faces. What were your overall thoughts on the game?
We can pick apart a little bit. I wasn't sure about Danilo starting in a 3 at the back, center back. I figured these would be the games he'd experiment a bit more. That being said, it was nice to see Ignacio come in. I know Patricio was starting because Diogo Costa was hurt, so that made sense. You go to your next choice keeper, I suppose. It was interesting to see him play 3 at the back as a whole. So we saw a bit of a formation change where he used to play kind of the 4-3-3, 4-4-2 with Fernando Santos. First half was a bit of a slog. Like, they didn't really get much going. It kind of felt like a Fernando Santos game, actually, where we kind of struggled to do much. They got the first goal. They go into half tied up 1-0, and then the second half is when the floodgates open. Ronaldo got his goals. Who else scored? Bernardo got a nice goal as well. So overall, no real complaints. Cancelo got credit for the goal. We weren't sure if Ronaldo was going to get it. It was kind of not a hair of God goal, but in the same vein, we thought it might have ticked him. Chris disagrees, like, no, hang on.
I can't believe it, man. I can't believe it, dude. I honestly can't believe it, because I remember how like remember the Federation like tried to challenge FIFA to get the Bruno Fernandes goal changed.
This goal I thought was closer than the Bruno
like
goal.
They literally this one hit
him.
There is visual evidence that it hit it.
The FIFA one was very
like no questions asked.
This one it certainly takes a touch.
Yeah.
From, like,
and I was shocked that there was no news or anything. Nothing. No news, nothing.
I think they figured optically.
I was like, wow,
I wonder if they figured optically it wouldn't be a great look for the first game under a new coach.
But they already did it like 3 months ago, though, bro.
I know, but I wonder if optically they figured maybe we gotta win. Like, who cares? Like, let's not start some. Let's not.
He got other goals, you know,
and he got other goals.
That's the thing.
So.
He got plenty.
Yeah, he got other goals in both games. So I think they just probably were like, we could argue this, but like, what's it really gonna gain at the end of the day? Like, and it's the first game with a new coach. Did you really? I don't think they just optically want to distract from that. Like, there was so much other kind of positive going on. You don't want to put a damper on the mood, maybe. So it is what it is. We had João Mario Whistlegate. I'm curious to see what you guys think of this before I say, because I'm kind of maybe contrarian to other people's opinions.
If I'm being honest, I just don't care. Like,
okay,
as harsh as it sounds, like, I don't mean it to say like in like to your opinion I don't care, but like, you're playing at the Alvalade. Of course, most people are going to be Sporting fans. He did something that is going to annoy Sporting fans, and at the end of the day, it's not the first time a player's been booed. It won't be the last.
Other players,
that's the thing. So. Like, it's only news because it's a Benfica player, sadly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they just don't report on it, no one cares. People only talk about it because they're reporting on it.
Yeah.
Why are they reporting on it?
Other guys played at the Alvalade.
Because they can. Because they can. They're in a position to, you know?
And Otavio was booed before, by Portuguese fans as well.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's fair game.
I think there was a bit of just some assholes, or like, he's not Portuguese, so I think that kind of takes some of the crowd as well, and as stupid as it is to say, but there are assholes out there at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm with you, Sam. Like, I just don't care. Like, if you want to, I don't even care. Like, if you like boo the guy, I don't care. Like, he's gone. It's over with. Let's move on with our lives. There's more important stuff going on. Like, I don't like what he did. I think it was a dipshit thing to do to the club. But at the same time, fucking the dude made a business decision. Like, it is what it is. Let's move on with our lives. Like, he's trying to.
He's free to make the decision.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think he's free to make
it doesn't mean he's
whatever
immune
decision that he wants. And if one of the few consequences of that decision is like the 1 to 3 times a year that you play in this one specific stadium, people whistle at you, like, that's not a bad trade-off for like 5 million euros.
It wasn't even
you get
like
whistled at twice a year.
It wasn't even like all 45K were whistling them mercilessly. It was like
because not everyone there is a Sporting fan.
Well, and even
because it's not everyone that's a Sporting fan.
Like, it's the national team. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and so not every Sporting fan is even booing. So yeah, scattered boos. Give me a break. Why is this even in the news?
It's someone's made it a bigger issue than it needed to be. Like, a couple smatterings of fans who are more than entitled, who paid a ticket, are more than entitled to their opinion to do and say as they please, did what they pleased.
Well, people have always said that like the FPF. People have always said that the FPF like really is under the thumb of Benfica in a way that like the other clubs don't have the same level of influence. And like, I would say that this incident would lead credence to that theory that like Benfica really does have oversized influence if they're able to manufacture this controversy in the first place, and the FPF is willing to back them up. Like, it just shows that Benfica really does have outsized influence with the Seleção.
Yeah, there was like whole pages. There was like whole front pages and stuff dedicated to it. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, Rafael Leão when he played his first game back at the Alvalade, and like Patricio and stuff, like they got booed about the same, honestly, if we're being perfectly honest. It didn't sound much different. And it was almost a non-story outside of sporting circles. It was like, oh, like fans booed them. Fair. And we moved on with our lives.
Yeah, I just want to take a chance to, while we're on the topic of Judases, there is a video live on the Sporting160EN channel about 5 Judases who betrayed the club.
So I wonder if João Mario made the list.
He's definitely not the thumbnail.
He's definitely not in the thumb.
Yeah. But
you could have done a top like 15 list, to be fair, too, easily.
Probably even more easily, because like sporting fans do hold
left out. There was like a few good ones that were left out there where I'm like, ooh, he went with this one, spicy.
Yeah, I think we could do part 2, part 3, even like 4 and stuff. But
we could do a couple.
Yeah, just as well, like if John Murray doesn't want to get booed at the end of the day, don't make stupid decisions. If he's just stayed a sporting player, he went abroad, like he's not going to get booed by sporting fans for no reason. Like,
I think as well, it's because it's because of how, like, the shady circumstances of the deal, where it's like he was gonna, like, Sporting offered a transfer fee to Inter, and then they just terminated his contract and he went to Benfica. I think that's part of it too, because it was just weird circumstance. Like, you could have got money, like you weren't gonna recoup your investment, obviously, but you could have got money for this. So there's something weird going on there that we don't know yet. We may never really know what happened. But yeah. Optically, that's weird too.
I think that the low ball offer was just simply legal cover, to force Inter's hand, because I mean clearly, Inter will say publicly whatever that the anti-rival clause isn't real, whatever, it's not valid. Then why did they?
If it's in the
try to circumvent it,
like. That's the thing. If it's in the
why do they try to circumvent it if they didn't think it was real?
If it's not real, I don't think Sporting would fight as hard. Thing is, I guess.
By the way, that'll battle in court for the next like 8 years. So.
Oh yeah, that's never getting settled. By the way, like that'll never, because I like
Ruben Ribeiro isn't even settled. Ruben Ribeiro's Rafael Leão still not settled. It's been 5 years.
Ultimately, like it comes down to if FIFA wants to, or like whoever. It comes down to wants to uphold it, because then it's going to set a precedent, right? That's the thing. So they're not going to rush a decision on something that.
And FIFA in the past have recognized the rule as being, well, they've had some rules that they've said yes, it's a legal clause, and then in other cases they've said no.
Yeah, they've had conflicting rulings, but the most recent one, the most recent one though, they did rule in favor of it though. So
yeah.
I
think if it's in the contract and it's in the fine print and you've all signed off on it, that's on you. But like if it's not really like
it's definitely in the contract.
And that's the thing. It's more than likely in the contract. So unless there's some weird loophole around it, like it is what it is. Sorry, but pay up.
Yeah, you rescind. That was the loophole around it.
That was the loophole, I guess. I guess that's the loophole. And they'll probably, and you know what? They'll probably.
And then you get payment for, and then you get a €7 million payment for Lazaro, who plays like 2 minutes. That's how you get around it.
Yeah. There was just so much shady with that whole thing. So.
Just from a financial standpoint as well, like if you're gonna, like, I think they rejected publicly that maybe 3 million from Sporting, maybe even less, and then they're like, yeah, 3 million is not enough, but we'll let them go for free. It's like, well, okay, I don't understand.
Well, that's yeah.
But yeah, I think it's definitely just because of that reason. Like, for example, Cancelo used to play for Benfica, Felix used to play for Benfica, Ruben Dias, they weren't booed at all. So it's the circumstance. It's not just booing them because they play for Benfica, which is, I think, is what the FPF tried to turn it as. But it's for him just being a scumbag in general.
It was just for the circumstances in which he left the club, angered a lot of, and understandably and rightfully angered a lot of fans. And like you pay to go to a game, as long as you're not being a dipshit and being like racist or homophobic, or you're gonna throw stuff on the field or start a fight, you can do and say what you want. Like,
or you go to games with asking for players' signs.
You're entitled to boo. You're entitled to boo when you want and cheer when you want. Like, like it's what it is. Like, get over it. We're such babies in Portugal.
Yeah, most definitely.
If that was in North America, no one would have said fucking thing. If that was in Canada, we wouldn't have said shit.
Yeah. Well, you're all very nice in Canada, so I don't think you boo anyone. You just cheer everyone.
Yeah, we're relatively polite. There, I've seen some hostile crowds. I find American crowds more hostile.
Yeah, I have seen
Canadian
clips of
crowds,
like
yeah,
ice hockey crowds are quite can be quite rough, I think. But I don't know if that was American
a
or
few, but
Canadian.
it depends on like the situation. They're pretty tame now for the most part. The most hostile crowds I can remember is like, this is gonna be a niche reference. Like Vince Carter left like Toronto and came back. Like people
Yeah, I
hated him,
remember.
or like
I'll say I remember that. I wasn't old enough,
LeBron.
but I've seen clips
Yeah.
of it. And like when Kevin Durant went back to Golden State after
LeBron to Cleveland's the
Oklahoma
big
after
one.
joining Golden State. So like
LeBron to Cleveland's the big one. That was like people feared for his safety that time,
Yeah.
understandably. Because to be fair, he also left it a dipshit way, which is he made it a TV special on ESPN, The Decision.
I remember
like,
when
well, I don't know where he's going, but I know for sure he's not staying in Cleveland.
Antoine Griezmann tried to do the same, but his one was like, "I'm staying," and then like 6 months later, he joined
He was like, I
Barcelona.
want to leave, and I'm like, bro, they got to be so tired of your antics. Like, I think that's when it got to the point where even Atletico Madrid was like, just go. We don't want to deal with this anymore. You're at such a headache. Like, you're not worth the trouble anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Chris, what were your overall thoughts on the 4-0 victory against Liechtenstein?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only takeaways were that I thought that, like, honestly, Liechtenstein were like very well organized defensively, especially in the first half. They really gave Portugal a lot of difficulty. Obviously, they like basically had absolutely nothing going forward. Their only chances were like 2 30-yard shots that really didn't even trouble Patricio at all. So obviously they had difficulty transitioning into attack. Portugal's back line was basically just camped out at midfield, just all in one half till the game was played. But, you know, all things considered, obviously, this is like a pretty weak team. A lot of like semi-pro there's FC Vaduz B team players scattered throughout this national team, which is like the top club in Liechtenstein, not even first team players. So yeah, I mean, they resisted much more organizedly, and maybe they're a bit lucky. And in the end, they are unlucky because the only goal they concede in the first half is a deflection that the keeper still really does have a chance at.
Did well to almost get to it.
He's kind of unlucky, to be fair, that he doesn't even save that, and it could be maybe even be 0-0 at a half. In the next game, obviously Portugal just took all their chances, like 4 shots, 4 goals. Like they just banged him in instantly. But in this one, you know, who knows what could have happened if this carried on 0-0 all the way to like the 65th minute, 70th minute. Like it gets a lot sketchier. It gets tenser, you know. So I'm glad it didn't get to that point. The second goal came right out on the other side at halftime, and by then it's like 2 goals. There's still like 40 minutes left. I don't think Liechtenstein's really. If they get 1, they'll be lucky, right? So, yeah, at that point, it was kind of over. So it is really tough to like take away much from this game, other than like the new formation. It was nice of Martinez to give Inacio his debut at Alvalade. He's earned it. Patricio, you know, it's interesting that, you know, I feel like the second and third string goalkeeper spots, I feel like could be up for grabs. And obviously he was forced in due to injury, but there's really not much that we can take away from his performance because he didn't have to do anything.
No. Who was our third keeper on this call-up, by the way?
It was the guy, the backup keeper, Vitória Guimarães.
Like a 16-year-old who's the backup of Guimarães.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, Luis Silva and Jose Sá, like, just not.
I think Jose Sá might have been the other one, or if not, it was Rui Silva from Betis. I think it might.
I don't think Rui Silva made it, so I think Jose Sá ended up coming in because he was supposed to be the third choice, anyways. And then they kept that guy who was on the under-21s.
Yeah.
Just training with them, I suppose, which was wild to me.
Might as well bring
that was
me
crazy.
there. Or Andre Paulo.
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, you might as well.
Andre Paulo, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, there's spots up for grabs. Obviously, you know, Guerreiro got this one. Nuno Mendes got the other game, right? I guess I'd say that's a spot that's quote-unquote up for grabs. Ronaldo, much to the dismay of Gonzalo Ramos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did what he had to do, scored some goals, scored a free
Ruben
kick
Fox.
goal, which you don't really see too. He gets a lot of shit for taking free kicks and just smashing them in the
Goalie
wall.
almost got a piece of it too.
Scored
I
a free kick goal. I mean, not a lot of complaints, and also I feel like not too much to take away. Palinha, obviously, I guess I'll shout him out as well. Was a monster. He had like 20 tackles in this game. Anytime they just, I mean, they couldn't play out, but like, yeah, when they have a fucking we have a destroyer like that, they're really not going to be able to play out.
All the last 2 games proved me is Fernando Sanchez has blood on his hands for not playing Palinha more. Like, I know it was against inferior.
It looks like Ruben Neves is more in the doghouse so far.
I'm surprised he even got a call up personally. That was the one out of all the players who got called up.
Seemed to love Ruben Neves, so.
That was out of all the players that got caught, like the 20 whatever players that got called up. That's the only one where I was like, this makes 0 sense.
Him and Matheus Nunes for me, because Wolves have just been so bad this season.
Well, Wolves they're in a relegation fight still, are they not? Like,
yeah, I think there's quite a few teams like
there's like 9 teams in the relegation battle.
But like the point is, like, they're both not play. They both, like, what at the World Cup showed you that Ruben Neves should be playing. And 2, he's having a dog shit season on a dog shit team. Like, there's no need to call him up. Call anybody else up.
Yeah.
Like, that was the one where I'm like, this is my hill to die on. Like, this is a fucking stupid player to call up. And then he got minutes, and I was even more pissed.
I'm surprised William didn't get called up, because from what I've heard,
William's been playing well this year.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't watch much of Real Betis, but I've heard he's been playing well. Got a new contract, I believe. So, I mean, that's surprising.
And he had an okay where he played well at the World Cup, too. Like, he played decent.
He's very reliable, I feel like. He's just, but maybe that's why he wanted to switch it up. He just wanted to, because to be fair, like, no disrespect to Liechtenstein and Luxembourg, this was very much an experimental team and formation. So it could just be next set of call-ups, William gets called.
Team I'll disagree with a bit, because he took, like,
at least in the first game, at least I would say, like Ignacio and guys like Palinha who didn't get a lot of burn, and guys like even Cancelo hasn't been doing very well for Bayern Munich, and Felix has been on and off at Chelsea as well. So.
Well, Cancelo found out his coach at Bayern got fired after the game as well. Yeah. They're like, oh, he's got some news for you. Julian Nagelsmann or whatever fired from Bayern Munich. How do you feel about that? He goes, I just learned about that now from you. Like, wow. That's a way to find out. Like, no, you're the last guy to find out, probably.
Yeah. Poor dude. We'll move on to the second game. Just before that, Chris, I forgot to mention, I love in the hair, man. You remind me of when Sporting won the league and everyone just dyed their hair green.
They all went for the green spray paint hair dye.
You're muted, Chris.
You're on mute.
I tried to dye my hair green after we won the league, but my hair's too dark, so it didn't show up. So I had to bleach it. So I had to have it like professionally bleached and then dyed. So yeah, it was a whole process. Yeah, I was at the hair salon for like 4 hours.
Oh, probably. Yeah, you got dark hair like any of us. Like, you're gonna be there for a while.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was worth it, bro.
But yeah, let's move on to against Luxembourg even, which was a 6-0 victory. Ronaldo scoring 2, I believe. Right?
He got 2.
And the lineup is as followed: Rato Patricio in goal, Antonio Silva, Ruben Diaz, Danilo Pereira, Palinha, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, Nuno Mendes, João Felix, Bernardo Silva, and Ronaldo. Chris, I'll start with you this time. What were your overall thoughts on this game?
My overall thoughts were I thought this game was going to be much more challenging, especially compared to the previous game, which was, like, in the end, more challenging than it should have been, but we still made pretty slight work of them. Luxembourg's given us difficulty in the past.
Yeah,
they have a couple ballers. Their best player put in a 3.5, so I mean that's kind of sums up the night for them. The last time we played them, they actually went up 1-0 before
they went into halftime with a lead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, Luxembourg has definitely been one of those teams that used to get trashed no matter who they play there basically every time, and they've been slowly growing. And you could estimate by the way that they've been trending that they could maybe fight for like a playoff or potential qualification in the right group in the next like 10 years. Mm-hmm. But so I was like, these guys have given us trouble. They're trending up. Like, it'd be more difficult. But they were okay, honestly. It's just that we just finished our chances and we're so pinpoint. Ronaldo's second goal is so nice. The touch, the run, the fake, the finish with his weaker foot. I mean, the Bernardo was a header, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was a really nice goal.
The Felix goal. I mean, bro, we were just shitting on them and just scoring basically every chance that we had in their first half, and we put the game away in the first 20 minutes, I would say, when it was 3-0. And then from there, it's like is cruise control. So again, I guess I'm happy to see CR7's happy when he's scoring goals, and his confidence goes up when he's scoring goals and he plays better. Yeah. So I guess that's better for everyone rather than him just like moping around and kind of like whining about. So
I thought this might be the game. One of these games we get more Gonzalo Ramos minutes, but I guess not. I guess evidently we didn't get a whole lot of Gonzalo Ramos in either game.
Yeah. Shout out to James in the comment saying Luxembourg's badge looks like Game of Thrones.
They do have a cool badge.
It either looks like that or it looks like one of them like Pez badges that like don't have the license, so they just like
that looks like what Sporting's badge would look like if we didn't have a license in like Pez or FIFA. It's just slightly different colors, obviously.
To be fair, their kits were not bad. Either side. I think that I'm not sure how you pronounce it. ERREA area,
yeah.
Whatever that brand is, they've kind of overtaken Macron as like the main kit supplier for like these lower end national teams.
Yeah.
Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Belarus, Cyprus.
I think San Marino,
San Marino. Yeah, a lot like the Area, whatever this brand is called, picked up like 8 or so national teams, all lower end. And they've been making them nice kits. I got to give them credit. Yeah. Nice kits. Even I was watching Belarus get their asses handed to them by Switzerland 5-0, and I was like, yo, those Belarus.
At least you look fired getting killed.
You got those Area kit. I mean, they hooked you up better than like, let's just say they go with Adidas, right? They're just getting a red template or whatever, Well, like it had like custom trim of the Belarus flag. I was like, they're getting smacked, but they look decent doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these smaller, like even the Macrons of the world, but like these kind of like middle to lower tier brands do way nicer kits than some of the big brands, I find.
For the smaller clubs, yeah.
Like I'm Canadian, and like our Nike kits are shambles. We've had the same kit for like 4 years now.
You're like F tier, bro. You're like lower than Ryuov in the Nike pyramid.
It's brutal. Like that's a whole other topic. It's our federation's so stupid, and they're actually being told to testify on Parliament tomorrow. Funny enough, for some shady deals. So, but yeah, it's some of these smaller kit companies make some of the best kits. Don't sleep on some of these manufacturers.
Yeah, very good point. Richard, what were your overall thoughts on this game?
Not a crazy ton to add. Good to see us. We scored like 4 goals in our first 4 like shots on net. Like it was just unbelievable efficiency, the likes of which we've never seen. It's nothing really to complain about. Ronaldo got his 2 goals. Kind of, I think it was one of his goals. He kind of messed up, but it still went in. It looked like he was trying to hit it, and it went in. So I'm like, you're in the right place at the right time, and no one was in that corner, so fair enough. It was basically cruise control after 4-0. Again, not a ton of experimentation. A few changes from the first game, obviously. Yeah, I know our badge is horrible, James, don't remind me. Again, I thought we'd see a bit more experimentation more in the back than anything, but seeing Danilo there, it is what it is. I see Antonio Silva getting minutes. Dalot, nice to see him getting minutes. He's been playing very well for Man United, so good to see him out there. Palhinha, Fernandes, João Felix got on the score sheet. Nuno Mendes got the minutes this game, which made sense. I figured if he's not starting the first game, he's starting the second. They'll kind of flip-flop with him and Guerreiro. Not much to glean from these.
The Leao cameo was worth shouting out.
Leao's cameo proved to me that he should be starting over João Felix. I just think he offers something more.
I feel like his role off the bench, though, the spark off the bench is As a
a fair
starter,
point.
I feel like he gets kind of lazy a bit sometimes. But when he's
That's
coming off the
fair.
bench against tired legs, especially when they're just, I mean, they look like it.
They
Like
look
there
like
was
me
this,
out there.
there was this kid that we used to
Exhausted.
play. There was this kid when I played like U16 who was just like so fast, so big, and like no one could stop him. Every time he got it, he was like a threat to score because he could just take like
Yeah.
6 guys on, or he could just kick it and just sprint basically from like, even if you had such a head start, he'd beat you to it. Like it looked like that, bro. He was just taking on these tired, destroyed mentally Luxembourg defenders. They're down 5-0, and he's just coming at them with pace, bro, and they're just helpless.
They're just like, well, there's nothing I can
On the
do.
goal, bro, he broke the one dude's ankles. He's like,
Oh, he just ended that dude's career.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't even fair. And he missed a penalty. He got his goal in the
He
end.
did.
He drew the penalty. Yeah, I mean, I think that his role as like the super sub kind of is perfect for him, at least in the current setup. It's not to say he can't start from time to time, but like I feel like he's best off the bench for
He's
now.
Bubble Jovan. You want him off the bench where he can just go, and he'll go sicko mode for that like 15 minutes to half an hour. That's basically what we glean. Yeah, there's not much to really take away. Like they didn't play a tough team either game. There wasn't a ton of changes personnel wise. Outside of a slight formation change, there's not much we can really glean off of these 2 games. But 2 wins are 2 wins. I think I saw it, which was a wild stat to me. It's like the first time they've won both their first 2 games in qualifying since like the
They
90s.
often don't do this. Yeah.
They always like win and draw a game, or like they lose a game like Albania, like they did the one year. Like they always do have one game that's either like, yeah, I understand, well, that's a tough team, or it's just a result that baffles you completely.
Top 2 automatically go. It's like you really, it's if they finish 3rd in this group, it's almost impressive at this point.
It's almost you would have to like try to lose. You'd have to fix games in order for that to happen. They should realistically coast through this group. Like the other team in this group, I think, is Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Slovakia.
Yeah.
So not easy tests by any stretch, or both tricky teams, but realistically, they should be winning those games. There's no reason why they can't go perfect in this group. Personally, I think they could easily win every single game. I don't think there should be an excuse for a draw, unless it's like the last game or 2 and you've already clinched and you're basically playing B team guys.
Yeah, fair enough. The only thing I'll add is I wanted to see more of. I wanted to see Doglietta get some minutes. I really rate him highly, and I have done since he's come through like the youth system. I think he's been captain at like every level of Portuguese youth system, so that would have been cool for him to get some minutes. Even like Martinez Nunes, I know he said he had a bad start, like he's been awful at Wolves, but would like to see him come in. Vitinha too, but you won 6-0, so you can't really complain.
That's the only, I guess, criticism is we saw some experimentation. We didn't see as much as we kind of maybe would have hoped or expected. That's the only thing. Is we didn't see, like you said, Diogo Leite didn't come in, and we didn't see Matthias Nunes at any point. He tried some stuff. He didn't try out stuff with everybody. It is what it is. He's got some games to figure it out still. Realistically, he's got to play each of these guys once more. I'm sure we'll see some new personnel over the next whatever the next international window is. I think in June, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll probably see maybe a few more guys in and out of the squad.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll move on from the international break, and we'll go on to a tweet that we did about, I want to say, 2 weeks ago. It did sort of blow up, even though I'm going to be honest, it was trending on Twitter, so I took it and replaced the word, I think, Man United with Sporting. And then we got some good responses.
Yeah. We got some fun ones. We got some interesting ones. We're going to have to run through these.
Yeah, we're not going to run through them all, obviously, because there is a lot to go through. But we will. I'll scroll down. If you see one you like, hey, is Richard Neves? Who's that?
Who's that? Who's that piece of crap?
So let's see what Richard has to say.
Oh, I've said this on the show. We can skip this. I've said this so many times on the show.
Oh yes, okay.
We can skip this. I've said this enough times. I say this almost every other week. Like we can skip mine.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we'll go with this one, which I favorited, and you'll see why for a reason. Paulinho is one of the best players in Sporting. He's just not a good attacker. If you played in midfield with behind an actual striker, he would be MVP. if he knew how to finish, he would have never been at Braga to begin with. Go on, Richard. What are your thoughts? Is it unpopular for a reason, do you think?
You know what? He's always in a decent position attacking for the most part, so it's not super unpopular. If he knew how to fish, he would never. No, he would have still been at Braga, I think, at least at some point. He just maybe wouldn't have been. He probably wouldn't have had as long a stay at Braga. Like, he probably would have been picked up a couple years sooner. Really.
Well, he was linked to Wolves, and that would have gone through.
Yeah.
It's probably what.
Yeah, like he realistically still ends up at Braga. It's probably just not for as long as we probably pick him up a year earlier if it's us, or Porto and Benfica are after him a bit more. Like that's really the only thing that changes in that scenario. Is he might not even be at Sporting, he might just be at another Portuguese team that could have offered him a bit more money than us.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what about you? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see him as a midfielder, but maybe as like a second striker in a 4-4-2 or something. But I mean,
yeah,
we don't play that, so.
This one is an interesting one, and this is because of recent developments.
Spicy.
So he said, we lost the championship in 15-16 because we sold Montero in January 16. On the surface of this tweet, and after you giving your opinions on the actual tweet, we'll get into why it might be controversial. But Chris, what do you think? Does Daniel have a point here?
If I'm not mistaken, we sold Montero to China, and then we brought in Hernan Barcos, right?
Who I don't think ever saw the light of day.
Realistically, it made no sense.
No.
Like, it was a major downgrade. El Pirata didn't quite live up to his potential either. He was supposed to be like a serviceable finisher, which he did not show at any point.
I don't remember him even play a game. That's how he played
very little, and he had very limited opportunity, to be fair. But in his limited opportunity, he showed absolutely nothing. And I think part of the reason why he got limited opportunity is because he probably showed very little to Jorge Jesus to convince him to give him more opportunities. So, yeah, that was just an L. And then Montero comes back, and it's like, why did this guy
Why
even
did we
leave?
do this?
He didn't even want to go to China. It's like, what the fuck? And then that team, he went to Tianjin Teda, which is like a mid-table Chinese club.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a top team in China.
Crazy, man. It was crazy. But to be fair, I don't know if that – I think – there was a lot of other factors.
There was like 10 different things.
That was just an idiotic decision. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that was the biggest factor.
Yeah, there was like 10 different reasons why we lost the championship that year. That wouldn't have even been like my top 5.
Didn't help though.
It didn't. Oh no, it absolutely didn't help. But like, there's other reasons why we lost. Like there's a lot of self-blame and outside blame. That's like one of a myriad of causes for what ended up happening.
Yeah, definitely. Just a quick side note to Luca. No, not
no. If we win the league, I will eat a shoe live on stream. If we somehow pull, I will do something.
We have to make up like
15
points in 11 match weeks.
If they somehow won, I'm not saying they will, but if they somehow pulled that off, I will cause bodily harm, on the internet.
We have to get to. We could maybe get to second would be a miracle. Also,
even third at this point is still going to be hell of an accomplishment.
Third would be a good accomplishment, but would it be like a miracle?
No, it'd be a nice accomplishment, but it wouldn't be a miracle. Second would be the miracle. First
kind of
would be
closer to a miracle, and first would be.
First would mean Benfica's everyone's.
They overcame 9 points. They overcame 9 points in the second Volta, I think.
Yeah. Benfica would have had to their whole team would have just had to drop off the face of the earth for that to happen, and I just don't know that the odds are in the table for that. I'm sorry to say, Luca.
Yeah. So why this is interesting, this tweet at least, is because Cesar Bonaventura was charged with corruption that benefited Benfica. The club weren't a part of the accusations, apparently, so Benfica will face no charges for whatever reason. Doesn't really make sense, but whatever. One of the players he is accused of bribing is Stalin, who, of course, comes to Sporting 2 years after the events of 15-16. So, with all this accusations and the charge and everything that's gone on, Chris, tell me why we lost the championship in 2015-16.
I think that the deck was stacked against us from the start. I do think that it was possible to still overcome it potentially, but in the end, blew a 3-goal lead at Game of Ange. We tied Union de Madeira in a game.
We lost to Benfica at home
where we had no business drawing.
Yeah.
We lost to Benfica at home in a game that was, I mean, to be fair, like, let's just say that game is 1-1. Like, I don't know, like, let's just say, like, how active, like, was the rigging of that specific game versus, like, the overall, like, here's the thing. It's like, if we tie Benfica there, or
we're still only like a point
but
behind.
I think that things maybe, like, things happen, like, in the 7 match weeks after that didn't happen because they didn't need to happen, you know, because Benfica had taken the points lead at this point, and it's like, okay, now we just gotta bring it home, lads. You know, they've passed them. So I don't know, like, how crazy it could have gotten down the stretch if Sporting was still in the lead. But yeah, I think that the deck was stacked against them, and it would have taken. They almost overcame it, obviously, right?
Yeah, I think to go off here, I think there was a mix of we shot ourselves in the foot, but there was definitely some shenanigans afoot. I think it was a combination of we did some stuff that didn't help ourselves, but I think there was some stuff working against us maybe, and we're kind of maybe about to find some of that out now, at least with this case.
Yeah, and two things could be true at the same time, which is what Richard pretty much said, was that we did drop points, like, that didn't include referees, and at the end of the day, you can take referees out of decisions if you score enough goals. They're not going to disallow every single goal you score.
No.
But there was some cases and, like, some chances that were given that you look back and now you think, like,
maybe
is that bad refereeing or is it corruption? But who knows? I'm sure more will come to light as this trial drags on. I'm sure.
Knowing the Portuguese justice system, justice will be served.
But yeah, let's move on to this one. Maybe in the last few games, Esgaia versus Matthews race.
In the last few games, sure. Overall, no. That's how I leave it.
Sure.
Yeah,
not that crazy to take. Well. Like, understandable. If we're looking at just the last few games as the body work, then yeah, that's understandable.
There are some that. Do you see? Try to zoom in. Can you see that properly?
I can't really read them.
I can read them now. So stay like where you are now, zoomed in.
Cool. Just let me know if you see any that might be.
Go to that.
That's a hot take right there.
Which one? The Francisco one?
Yeah.
That's the one I was going to tell Sam to stop at.
Yeah.
Go on.
All
right. Many of the players that left after the Alcochete invasion did what is the best for their careers, and they deserve our respect. And they deserve the respect of the club and the fans.
Yeah.
Especially William, Adrian, and Patricio.
Well, Adrian wasn't there yet.
Adrian was already.
So check your facts.
All right, so
Chris, you take this first.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first part of the tweet, like, maybe, like, it kind of dispels the notion that they were, like, traumatically mentally harmed as a result of the attack, which was, like, the argument they were trying to make. It's like, did Patricio? The man just wanted to go to England, and he just needed an excuse to do so. So, like, did he do, like, for his career, like, but let's just, like, did going to England really, did that alter the course of Rui Patricio's career? Like, was
probably his bank account?
Probably
it helped his bank account, but, like,
account.
I would say overall his tenure at Wolves was a bit underwhelming in the end.
I'd say it was very underwhelming, actually, to be honest with you.
But yeah, I guess it helped his bank account. William, like, did his career
sort of a sideways move for him, I would say.
It was, I feel it's been a lateral move. At best.
Yeah, you could argue lateral at best, maybe, but there's, like, as far as, like, his, like, international press, like, how he's trending in and out of the Seleção, he's not, a given on the team sheet, like. Did his career benefit? I don't know. Like, maybe not really, not particularly. Some of them, like, but for example, like Leon, like, I think that he was probably going to explode no matter what, no matter where, you know. Like, he's super talented. Like, he was about to explode. So it's like, if he just stayed at Sporting for 2 more years, he would have just been sold like anyone.
Even another year, he would have been sold.
He would have just gone through the normal trajectory. And I think that he was probably like, his father was in his ear, his agents were in his ear, like.
And he's also like what?
He's a child. He's literal, like, also like a child.
Yeah, so listen to his dad.
So did they do what was best for their career, for their bank accounts? Like, probably. Like, do they deserve my respect for that? I don't think so.
Yeah. And I'm of the opinion, like, I'm over it at this point. Like, they left. It's done. It's over with. Like, let's move on. Like, I'm with you. I think they just did what was best for their bank accounts. Like I've always said, I won't ever really fault a player for chasing a bag. But, you know, I feel like
it's a very scummy way to chase the, like, chasing the
bag.
It
could have. I feel like you
perform well, and then you get like a new contract, or you perform well, and like a new club comes in and like offers the other club money, and then they're compensated, and then you get a bag also, and then the club gets a bag, and you get a bag.
Yeah, like, I don't necessarily fault them.
This whole fucking scheme, fucking scheme to advance your career is not exactly how most players go about doing it.
And like, I get, like, I'm not saying what they went through wasn't bad, because like it was bad. Like, they got attacked at work.
For
like,
sure.
If I went into Chris's work and tried hitting him, he probably wouldn't appreciate that. Like, if I came in just with a belt and beat the shit out of you, you'd probably have some words. And your boss just sat there and was like, well, I think you're at fault. You'd probably have some words for your boss as well. So like, I get them being mad, and it's easy for us to say too as fans, like, well, you're making money, eat shit. But like, if I was in that situation, I can't 100% say like I wouldn't at least been like, hey, what the fuck? Like, I don't know that I feel sick, because who's to say it doesn't happen again? So I get that side of the coin. I just feel like everything around that whole situation, from so many parties, them included, could have just been handled way better.
I will say, just as just like a devil's advocate to that, like it happened, it was bad, it was traumatic.
Yeah.
But like, let's just say, like, if you're evaluating like your risk of this happening again in the future, like, I would say that like maybe some clubs have a slightly higher risk than others, but like, at the end of the day, every club has at least 50 crazy ultras, right, that are willing to do
stupid things,
right? So like, it's like, this could realistically happen at any club in any.
I guess it's just because
I
guess it's just because of how easy it was for him to gain access to the training ground, because they literally just walked in.
Yeah, and then it's like a kilometer like driveway through like woods. They just kind of ran it out, jogged it out, you know.
Chalking it. There's the famous picture of them just going for like a team jog, and suddenly, next thing you know, there's pictures of Baz Doss bleeding and like smoke and flames in the friggin' dressing room.
So honestly, I guess what I'm saying is if you're just retire, and you can't be attacked by ultras if you're not playing on a team.
Yeah.
Next take. We gotta run through. We got a lot of these.
I'm just gonna put my sense in quickly, and then I'll move on. But for me, I get where he's coming from. But I think the way it went down before the attack was Patricio did cost us a lot. Like, he cost us a lot of money, cost us points, whatever.
Yeah.
And I know keepers have bad games and whatever. And like, I'm not saying they deserve to get attacked. Like, I will never say that.
No.
But I think it's different because they came up through the academy. They've seen everything. They were given everything. They were given contracts. They were paid a lot of money by Bruno Cavalli, because we had a different. We had quite a lot of money back then, I think, or like players definitely had a lot more salary than they did now.
We were making more money back then as a whole too, like on sales and tickets and stuff. So you could justify paying them, I suppose.
Yeah, but yeah, I sort of get where he's coming from, but for me, I won't forgive them. But we'll move on to the next one, because we could pretty much speak about this all day. Just let me know if you find one, guys.
All right, let's see. Ugarte is as good as Paulinho. Yeah,
this one might be.
I don't think that's unpopular. Braganza would be a better captain. Well, if Braganza had needs right now,
than
If
Seba
Braganza
right
had
now.
knees right now, I don't know, maybe, but
I think he could be a
stretch.
captain, right? I think he could be a club captain in the future.
Yeah,
Braganza's on the perfect trajectory to never leave Sporting.
yeah.
Sadly,
For him,
here's the thing.
sadly.
Because he's good, right? He shows flashes, but he never quite get good enough to get swooped by somebody.
He's gonna be like a Rafa or a Pizzi.
He is represented by Gestifute, which a lot of people forget. He is literally a Gestifute client, so he could always, at any moment, just the switch could get flipped on him in the summer or something. But at least for now, I mean, I could see him staying at Sporting for a while. So I think he could be the captain in the next 3 years.
He gives me big like Rafa and Pizzi vibes for Benfica, where they're really good Portuguese league players, but you don't really ever see them make a move, like a big move abroad, kind of, unless like a money move to Saudi or something, or Qatar or UAE. Like, it's just that's what they seem like, is just he's gonna kind of be the Sporting guy, kind of like Adrian sort of would have been had he stayed, because Adrian really never did anything after Sporting. He was pretty much, I figured he was going to stay there until forever. So, yeah, I agree with I think Braganza would be a good captain. I don't think he'd be a better captain in this moment. Sorry to disagree with you, Francisco Natal 99.
Yeah, we're going to end the unpopular opinions there for a bit, and we'll come back to them. We can do it at a later date. But Chris, did you have the loose end you want to go over quickly?
Yeah, just a couple things that have come in over the, since the last week since we did the podcast. Speaking of Braganza, there was talk from record that there could be a Braganza renewal coming down the line. So we'll see if that ends up happening or not. It's kind of interesting decision, and especially since don't really know what status of his knee is going forward, how close he is, how the recovery is going, blah blah blah. So I guess we'll see. But I would like Braganza to continue at the club. Aston Villa and Pot is
key. They keep getting linked to him.
Keep getting linked. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. Villa and Pot, they're obsessed, man. Yeah. Even Jaime linked to Sporting and Porto as well.
He's moving in the off season for sure.
He's probably moving this summer. Yeah. If he doesn't leave for one of the big three, I could even see him going to Spain potentially or something. Mm-hmm. I think he's officially going to make the jump to a bigger club. Sadly, Portugal Liechtenstein was the highest attendance at Alvalade this season. I went back and even looked at other Seleção games at Alvalade this season. This was the highest of even those. 45,000.
So, that beats our game again. That beats our home, at least our home game against Tottenham for sure. Because I figured that would have been up there.
I'll just point that out. There was news, or there was talk that Ugarte was potentially being renewed. They wanted to renew with Ugarte, increase his buyout, and make him one of the highest paid players on the team. That news has been existing for several months now. It really ramped up last week, and then it got reported that the talks are stalled and he has heavy interest from Leeds and Tottenham. So the interest from those clubs is kind of stalling the renewal talks, probably because of the potential salary that he's able to be offered from there. So we'll see if this is the, if Ugarte's leaving in the summer. I guess it would.
He might be the next big money move.
It could be the next one. Yeah. Heavily linked to Tottenham. I will say that. Leeds is new, but Tottenham has been lurking for a minute.
A little while. They've been interested.
They scrimmaged. The first team scrimmaged Vila Fraquense and beat them 7-0. Fifth place team in the second division. Not a bunch of scrubs, to be fair. And Sotiris scored in that game. So I was joking.
Sotiris is alive. He's alive.
Oh, I was joking in the group chat. I would pay money to see a clip of the Sotiris goal. Like,
I want
footage. It was also like, I think it was either the first or the second goal. So
like early.
He set the tone, Sotiris. Like, do you think it was a banger? You think it was a sloppy, just scrappy goal?
It's either
maybe a
it's
header.
It's either a really nice goal or it's like one that hit like 8 guys.
I'm dreaming. I've been
One or
dreaming.
the other.
I've been fantasizing about that. What the Sotiris goal, could have looked like. I've been
It's
been on my mind, bro.
It's either
If you were filming at Alcochete like through the fence and you've got footage, or
send it to us,
or someone who saw it with their own eyes, hit me up, bro. I need to know how that shit went down. Kawatsa Morita, I will say, like, if they don't play against Santa Clara, it wouldn't shock me. They're reported to be arriving from their respective international duties like Friday or Thursday. The game's on Saturday. Kawats, now that the games don't matter, the Uruguay manager is like, Kawats time, baby. 180 minutes in meaningless friendlies against Asian countries. So
it wasn't even like
let's ride him till the wheels fall off. He scored a goal and he wore the armband, so good for Seba. I'm sure that's like a prideful moment to represent your country in that way. But as a Sporting fan, the last thing that knee needs is 180 minutes of just friendly action. At the end of the day, I wasn't thrilled to see that, but oh well. I guess we're deep at the center back position right now with everybody healthy.
We've got, outside of like the Braganza injury, like most of this team is healthy now, I think. So you're not overly concerned if you
St. Just can run for like more than 20 minutes at a time, which has been critical. So
Diomonde's been good. Ignacio
and Morita, piggybacking off that, Morita has been was the same thing. He played a lot for Japan. I don't know if he played all of both games, but he definitely played heavy minutes in both games. Started both, I believe. So yeah, it is what it is. Fatawu played a lot for the U23.
Fatawu
banger from midfield and another goal. But I mean, he wasn't playing as much, so him playing it was not the worst thing in the world that he was playing in those games.
No.
Kawatsa Morita, on the other hand, especially Kawats, didn't really need, especially with 8 games in April.
Yeah,
they didn't need it. It was just the last thing that they needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. Shout out to the ladies footy for
we finally beat Benfica.
Finally beating Benfica at the Luz in front of 27,000 people, the highest attendance for a women's football game in Portugal. Ruined the party. Nice job.
Nice. We love to see it.
Probably gonna. I'm not gonna say we're not gonna win the league, but we could finish second. Braga is right where with us, so it's between us and Braga for second. But I mean, all things considered at this point, I guess we'll just take second. It's been a very inconsistent season. Also, speaking of Ugart and international duty that didn't need to happen, Ugart played a lot. I think he started at least one of the 2 games, and he got his hand stepped on, and it was incredibly swollen. We do not know the extent of that injury, but we do know that it was bad enough that it was like he came off, and then it was like he was like saying like it wasn't good. So I don't know. Hand broken. Does that mean he can't play? Is he gonna go Pelinga mode and just wear like the hand thing?
He's gonna wear Suarez. He's gonna have the Jamie Vardy permacast.
Yeah, right? Vardy. Some guys just have fucked up hands and wrists, I guess. So is he just gonna be one of those guys? Is gonna be out? We don't know. Jovan was another one, picked up a little muscle injury, I think, for Cape Verde. Not like that one matters as much.
I was gonna say that really doesn't change much. It's really.
They said he's gonna be out for a week. Okay, don't really care. And Bellerin.
This means Rashinha just goes from warming the press box to warming the bench.
Bellerin is reported to be going to Betis maybe at the end of the season.
Will we
also he's been hurt
about this transfer?
Yeah, and that's the thing that's weird because Fabrizio Romano reported that he could be leaving Sporting at the end of the season on a free to sign for Betis.
So it looks like we got him on a.
So we signed him on a. So did we sign him on a 6-month permanent deal?
I guess.
That's
with
crazy.
With an
because
option
now the 1 million, because they're like, because I think the reported transfer fee is like 1 million euros,
which is nothing. Like you can eat the cost.
But 1 million for 6 months.
6 months, that's ridiculous.
Of a player that is looking like he's going to be injured for at least half of those 6 months is. That's not looking like a bargain anymore. I'll be honest.
No. If it was 1
I know
million,
a 1 million is chump change to so many clubs, but like €1 million. I mean,
it's not chump change to this club.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
not
an
really chump
insignificant
change to
amount.
us.
And yeah, especially for a player that's just gonna walk. Did he have a verbal agreement that he was gonna sign for longer after?
That's my only thing.
Is he just saying fuck what I said to you guys 2 months ago? I just want to go back to Spain. I don't know. Will we ever know? I don't know.
He never wanted to go. Like, he always wanted to stay at Real Betis, and
now it's reported Amorim wants to write back with different characteristics. So it's like,
and now it's also reported he wants.
Did Amorim not want him? Was this a Slimani signing where it was just given to him and he didn't really want him? I don't know, man. It's the whole Bellerin situation is weird. Quite weird, and there's still a lot to be.
I can't remember any situation kind of like this. Not in recent memory, anyways. Because we didn't know what is.
It's got some parallels to others, but it is kind of weird because the contractual situation is so unclear.
Well, just because nothing.
Like, who's paying him right now? Who's paying him?
Are we paying him as Barca? Are we splitting with them?
I don't know.
We don't know if it was a loan. Now we assume it was a transfer.
We think it's a permanent, but it's been reported as a loan as well.
And so, and then it's like, okay, so was it like 6 months with like a mutual option to renew? Like, what was? So we don't know anything. That's the problem.
And we're
left in the dark.
Hurt. And he's hurt.
He's been hurt.
Not even playing. So,
which is too bad because a little bit that we did see him, I mean, he played well. It's too bad.
Okay, and then I guess my last piece of news here is that yesterday the handball team made it to the quarterfinals of the European League. They were down by 3 after the first leg, had to win by 3 to tie it, and ended up winning by, I believe, 5 or 6.
Yeah,
it was a back and forth game. Like, the league got up to 6, like 7, then they would cut it back down to 2 or 3. So it was like, where is this going to end up? And then we kind of got a kick in the last 3 minutes and just charged ahead. I was willing to settle for 3 and overtime,
Yeah, I figured I was keeping up with the score. I'm like, they might just end up in overtime.
We ended up getting it done in regulation. It was a great finish. Maciel in goal, massive. Salvador, massive. Costa Brothers, massive. I mean, it was awesome. Pavilion was the fullest I've seen in a little bit. Wow. So yeah, I was like, it was a good modalities moment. Benfica got eliminated from the competition, so we're carrying the flag of Portugal now. We're carrying the flag of Portugal in this competition. So yeah.
All we got left, I guess, is our game against Santa Clara this week. So score predictions, anything like that. What do you think?
I'm gonna go 1-0 win. Actually, I'm going to go 2-0 win. Santa Clara has been shit recently.
They're in a relegation fight.
They're in a relegation scrap. They can't help themselves out. I mean, it's a team that we should be beating. Again, the team trending downward. Some of the players have had some rest, right? Not all of them. Some of them recalibrate a bit. We're rounding into form, you could say.
We're starting to plateau, I think.
So I think that we should definitely be taking 3 points here. And I think that we will.
Oh, all right. Chris has dropped out, so it's just me now, it seems. I'm saying it's probably going to be a 2-0 Sporting win. I think we have everything in us to beat them. I'm going to message Chris right now and say, hey, Chris, how you doing? But I think a 2-3-0 win is more than capable. I think, as I was just saying to Chris, they've kind of plateaued at a good time. We hope they can carry the form in. Santa Clara in a brutal relegation battle right now. So we'll kind of see what goes on there. I'm waiting to see if Chris will come back. If not, we're going to wrap up the show. Anything else? I will plug the giveaway one last time. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We are inching away. We're like 50 subscribers, 52 subscribers away. So please do subscribe. We appreciate the hell out of you for subscribing. So make sure you do. We're giving away a shirt. We're covering the shipping. We're covering everything. So please do subscribe. That's going to be the show, I guess. If anything else, goodbye and peace. Viva Sporting.